Hi, my name is Mark Nichols. I'm from HLB Mann Judd Australasia. I'm with my partner Mark Muller. We'd like to talk to you about how we feel we can work with Africa in the mining and resources sector. First of all, Mark, can you tell us a bit about what we do in this sector?
Thanks, Mark. At HLB Mann Judd in Australasia, we have a specialisation in the mining resources sector, but primarily in relation to the junior companies, the explorers, early stage miners, not really in relation to the larger mining companies. In Sydney, we have a dedicated mining resources team covering audit, corporate advisory and tax. The biggest office in relation to this sector is definitely Perth, though. They have quite a few listed junior explorers as part of their client base. However, all offices do deal in this sector. When I say junior explorers, it's the small capitalisation end of our listed market. They're exploring tenements, etc., but they cover the globe. It's not just based in Australia. We have clients with tenements in South America, North America, the Nordic regions, throughout Asia, and in particular in Africa. I guess that's what we want to talk about today, is where you can actually help our clients who are operating in Africa to better run their businesses.
So what sort of opportunities are our clients looking for in Africa at the moment?
Our clients are looking through the whole African continent for opportunities. They don't have a particular geographic focus, so they'll go to any country in the region. Primarily, and we're talking about the mining and resources space here, they're looking not at the base metal markets, they're focusing on things like gold, copper, silver, diamonds, bauxite, uranium, even petroleum. But generally, I think you could make a statement that they'll look at any opportunity where they can make money. And that's where it comes down to, that they're looking for opportunities in regions where they believe they can add value and extract shareholder value from their operations in those countries.
So Mark, what type of investments are our clients looking to invest in Africa?
Well, as we talk about mining resources, the structure we have here is generally we'll have an Australian listed company. We'll have a subsidiary that's incorporated either in Australia or incorporated in the African country of choice. But they're particularly looking for value, and I guess that is why Africa really is on the radar for a lot of the Australian companies, because they perceive it as a good value proposition as a region. Having said that, Australian companies are under pressure in this sector in the Australian market, so they are spending their funds very frugally. They are very targeted in what they look at. They won't waste time looking at multitudes of opportunities, so what they're really looking for is something that has immediate potential to be either further investigated and proved up into a valuable resource, or something that's already got some background to it, maybe early stage mining where they can come in and get cash flow quickly.
So Mark, what can HLB Africa do to help our clients to invest in Africa?
Well, Mark, of course, most of our clients looking to invest in Africa are doing it through a listed vehicle in Australia. So there'll be an audit requirement for any sort of investment they make into Africa. So that's the first port of call. But as well as that, there's also the local tax regulations that need to be made aware of, import tariffs, and in particular, and this may not be well known amongst the firms in Africa, the particular legislation we have in Australia in relation to requirements for Australian companies to ensure that they meet legislation in Australia when operating in Africa in relation to bribery. Clearly, they're not allowed to bribe anyone, but there's specific legislation that prevents them from doing so. There's another number of other areas of specific legislation that Australian companies will need help on the ground to implement, even though they're not local rules in the African country they're operating in. We believe amongst the HLB network in Africa, we should be able to tell you about what those rules are and get your assistance in helping the local companies implement them.
Mark, what are the main challenges that your clients who are currently working in Africa are finding?
I think one of the key issues they face when operating in Africa, again through the listed company structure in Australia, is the timeliness of accounting reporting. Australian listed companies have very strict reporting deadlines to the stock exchange. consequences if you don't meet those deadlines. If you don't meet a reporting deadline by lodging accounts on time, the company gets suspended from the stock exchange, and almost invariably, when they're readmitted to the exchange, when the accounts are lodged, their share price has dropped. So it's very, very important to have timely information. In our experience with working with professional service firms in Africa, they are not always aware of those strict deadlines, which are not set by the client, but not set by us as the auditors, they're set by our statutory bodies. And having that struggle to get things done on time is a real issue for us. That's on the accounting and audit side. On the operational side, it's the usual sorts of things, being in an unfamiliar environment, not necessarily knowing the local legislation, the local requirements, even the local customs in relation to business. So inexperienced operators from Australia going into Africa can end up failing because they're not aware of those types of issues. They look to us to help recommend to them people to talk to, and we need to be confident that people recommend are going to provide the same level of service that our clients are used to in Australia. And the key elements of that service have always been very timely, good partner access, and getting the information right.
Mark, you say you specialise in the resources sector. How do you actually achieve that?
A number of years ago, Mark, we made a conscious decision to focus on the sector. We knew that our Perth office had quite a number of clients in the area. We had some clients here in Sydney, and we knew Melbourne and Brisbane had clients in mining resources. However, we weren't united, we weren't working together on those clients or in the sector at that time. We decided to form an Australasian mining resources group and pool our knowledge and look for opportunities to improve the way we do things with those clients, service them better, also expand our client base. How do we find more of these clients? That was about 2 or 3 years ago, and since then we have built our client base in Sydney. We've managed to take a newsletter that was previously Perth only and make it a national newsletter, which we've sent to some of the African countries as well after our conference in Asia. We then focused on, okay, how can we better build our presence in the sector, not just amongst the accountants ourselves, but with the clients out there. We have started attending, or have attended the last few years, various networking events. The local mining clubs in each state or each city have been a very effective way of building networks, meeting new people, understanding the industry, understanding what their hot buttons are, what they're really looking for from advisors. We partnered nationally with an organisation called AMEC, which is the Association of Mining and Exploration Companies in Australia. They're a very useful network for us because their membership is very much in our client base. It's mostly junior explorers, early stage miners or small production miners, not the big BHPs or the Rios. So that's been very useful. We co-sponsored events with them. In fact, we're hosting one here in this month with the Christmas session for AMEC in New South Wales. We've found that ability to network amongst the various companies in the sector, to pool our knowledge, to I guess exchange war stories about how we do things, has helped build our profile and build our skill level. What we'd like to see going forward is us being able to maybe not exactly replicate that, but use some of the lessons we've learned from that style of networking and building relationships into, let's say, okay, let's do that with HLB Africa, because we've got clients who are focusing on the sector over there. They perceive the value in Africa. A few hiccups along the way in various countries due to health scares and other reasons, but they're still seen as a viable proposition for investment. We think that we can take those lessons of networking and relationship building, work with our African colleagues, and make sure we pool those resources of knowledge, probably in not so much a face-to-face way, but some sort of online library, referral source, and help you help your clients, and help us help our clients, and both increase our business together. We'll be looking at ways that we can do that going forward, including things like sharing our resource newsletter. Neil, who heads up our Perth office in this area, is in the process of building an online aggregation of information that we hope to populate and share with Africa. We believe that the strong international network will help us build our business here, help you build your business. We're already seeing some payoff in Asia in focusing in that area and growing our clients there, so we want to take this forward in that way.
So Mark, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I guess, Mark, I'd just like to just mention that we are quite aware the Australian government is on record as saying that Africa is an important destination for Australian companies. Our clients are interested in Africa and are keen to look at opportunities there. We, HLB Australasia, HLB Mann Judd Australasia, look forward to collaborating with our African colleagues to make sure our clients who are going to Africa get the sort of seamless personal service they're used to in Australia, and that we work together to really build up that Africa-Australia